Welcome to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk, a show about ancient coins from the viewpoint of a seasoned professional with nearly 30 years' experience. Here's Aaron Berk and Mike Nodelman on the Ancient Coin Podcast.
It didn't work the way I wanted it to. Oh, well. And the sound of whatever that was means it is time once again for the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Berk. I'm Mike Nodelman. As you can see, he is
Aaron Berk.
That's right. And for those of you tuning in for the first time, short story, I work for Aaron. I am a U.S. numismatist. I know basically nothing about ancient coins. And through this podcast, Aaron is teaching me and thereby teaching you all he knows about it. Well, maybe not everything he knows about ancient coins, but a fair more than I know. So we talk about auctions, and on this one, we've got some recaps. We have some things that we're looking forward to. We have a Doofus purchase, and we have a Doofus podcaster. We'll leave it like that. I like the corrections. And
sounds good.
Yeah, it's like we'll just go to that. So
it was actually a Doofus me. So
well, that's okay.
Yeah.
No shame in that. Yeah.
And to just add an addition to what Mike said at the beginning is that this show isn't just for you new listeners. It's for the experienced collector who can then tell me when I'm wrong. And as a community, we can all discuss and work together, because this show, I've said it many times, isn't my show. It's not Mike's show. It's not our show. It's all of our show. It's the community show. And so I really appreciate all the feedback, even when I'm wrong, and corrections, so that we can get it all right together. So thank you for all the comments, all the positive feedback. That's the only thing I always ask, is to be positive. Don't be negative. Yeah. I enjoy all the positives. That's what keeps Mike and I keep doing this.
Well, I mean, nobody's right 100% of the time, so that's not going to happen. So if that's not the expectation, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah. My goal always with this podcast was to help people deal with the pitfalls of what this market can provide to people at times, or not provide to people at times. And so it was really important for me to make sure that, there's a lot of other podcasters out there or people in our industry. They're always kind of tooting their horn about their company and not really about anybody else's. Most of the time, I'm usually piping the horn of other people's auction houses. And the whole point of that was, is I never wanted this to be an infomercial. Now, today I'm going to talk about our buyer bid sale. So that's
as we do from time to time.
Occasionally, I usually apologize for it, but I don't have to.
Look, there's no need to apologize.
And so,
there's no need to apologize for that, because in fact, it is our buyer bid sales are actually a pretty big event, and they are, known throughout the industry. It is the fact that we are self-deprecating about it. Look, this isn't a show for our shop. It's like we talk about every place, but hey, look, we have some great coins to offer you too.
Yeah, sure. And that's why we're going to talk about our auction last. So
that's absolutely.
That's the way it should be. But first, we're going to talk about the results of the NGSA sale, which was the auction house that reviewed in episode 71. This is episode 72, if you're keeping track. And so let's go to the review and lot number 27. This is the wonderful Massana with the eagle below, which I really, really love, with the eagle under the hair. Really fantastic, with an amazing pedigree back to 1921. It brought 6,250 Swiss francs hammer. That doesn't include the 22.5% plus the exchange rate if you are dealing in dollars. That's actually a good price for that. I don't think it's ridiculous. I think that's really fair. I think somebody got a great deal. I would have bought that for myself personally if I had the opportunity. but I was bidding for other people, so it didn't really work out for me.
You know, what's
So,
funny is with your father and his thing for bunnies, I
Yeah.
would think that would have been a coin that would have interested him.
Well, this is a very common coin, as I've stated before, but it's not so common with the eagle below. So that was really cool. Plus a fantastic pedigree. Anytime you get a pre-1970 pedigree, that's always a plus. Moving on to lot 50, the beautiful Philip II Tetradrachm. Love this coin because of the beautiful characteristics of the Zeus on the obverse. Beautiful flowing beard, not the highest grade, but it doesn't have to be, guys, because artistic merit is more important than grade. I don't know how many times I have to say that. That's the difference between what NGC can't do necessarily and what we can do as selling raw coins, is we can really expand on the importance of the style of the coin and the die work, and not so much on the grade. Because in my opinion, grade is just one factor. It's not the only factor. And also a correction. We made a comment about people being doofuses for overpaying for slabs. And that's not necessarily what we meant. What we meant to say is that on common coins that people are way overpaying for the grade on very common coins, that's kind of silly. And that's why they're a doofus. Doesn't make them dumb. We're not saying that.
No.
But the whole point is that people, I'm not against people. People always think I'm against slabbing, and I'm not against slabbing. Have nothing to, I think slabbing's been really good for the market in a lot of ways. My whole point is I don't want people to overpay for the grades. And I think that the way that they grade the coins actually have pigeon-toed a bunch of the dealers that just sell slab coins, because they can only sell specific coins. They can't sell a lot of bronze coins because of the smoothing aspect. So they're eliminating a big part of the market. If it was me who was like going to start up a grading service, I would have gotten rid of the and I think about this stuff all the time. When I was thinking about it this morning while I was laying in bed. So I don't know why this came up in my head, but it does. I would get rid of the strike and surface altogether, those two scales, because that is all made up of the grade. And I would add in artistic merit and rarity level. Those two scales, I think, would be huge, because you'd have then, and if you want to add a star, add the star. That's to me, the star is the way that NGC and the auction houses make a ton of money, because when they get that star coin, regardless of how they put it on or how they decide, it's going to garner a lot of money, and they know that, and so does the auction houses. So, but I think that strike and surface, to me, those two levels make no sense to me, because it's all part of the grade. And then also then I would then add in that rarity level 1 through 5, and I would add in an artistic merit scale. Those two, like if I had rarity level, let's say 1 is the highest and 5 is the lowest, so it goes back the other direction. If I had a rarity 1 and I had a artistic merit at the highest level as well, but it was only a VF coin, I would still think that coin would bring a lot of money because of those two factors. And so when you're just having in the scales, which just relate to the grade only, you're eliminating a big part of ancient coins altogether. So if I was going to be like a PCGS and start, hint, if PCGS was ever going to get into the ancient slabbing market or another competitor, that's what I would do. I think it would be a wonderful trade-off to what NGC is doing. And I think eventually people would start moving into the NGC market or into the other market, because then you'd have more bronze coins that would be properly marketed through the slabs for the importance of them. It would just really open things up and
create an entirely different grading scale is kind of what you're saying, and just reinvent grading of ancient coins.
Well, I think the grade is the surface and the strike. I mean, that's already there. So why do you need to overemphasize it? And they're eliminating the rarity scale. Like, for instance, we'll talk about a coin in this going forward. We'll talk about a coin that is extremely rare. Like all the usurper coins are ugly, ugly, ugly coins. And because they are only minted for a few months, not by good engravers, poor quality always. And so those will never get a high grade. They should always get a 1 out of 5 for surface, always. Always they should, because they're just terrible looking coins. But the rarity of them is extreme, and so people pay a lot of money for them for that reason. So that's what, and I would say that a lot of the newer collectors end up in the slabbing market, and so they don't understand those rarities at all. And that's why companies that just focus on slabs tend to not sell those coins very well. And so, like, I always tell clients that are bidding like in a heritage or stack sale, and there's a really rare usurper coming up, most likely they're going to get it cheap, because you're not going to have the competition of the slab bunnies that are looking for that high designated grade on the slab. So, and again, like, there's people in US coin slabbing who can say, hey, that's a dog, that's not a MS63 in that slab. I don't know how many times Mike Prince from our company, who goes and reviews coins for auction for people, he cancels so many bids in auctions for US coins because the coin is not the grade that's in the slab. It's overgraded. And so you generally then have to have a good eye. And I think there's some good ancient collectors out there that just buy slabs that actually have a great eye, and actually their star coins are actually star coins. So, because I don't think every star coin is a star coin. So, but when they have the artistic eye for it, it's really fantastic. And so kudos to those people who actually have the eye to be able to get something. But if they had that those different scales on there, that might help not only advance the slabbing market, but it would also expand people's education on ancient coins. So anyway, my 2 cents.
I want to actually add something to that, and I'm going to do something a little contrarian. I want to point out the similarity of something only to show the difference. If you look at the difference between grading, or between ancients and modern coins, the grading of ancients is done completely differently, and you're dealing with an entirely different animal, and they're judged in different ways. I think the problem is many amateur collectors start with moderns because they're more available, they're just there, and then they carry those judgments and those bad habits into ancient collecting where it doesn't apply. And so they see the NGC slab, they see, oh, well, that's an NGC slab, that's like this world coin or this US coin, that no, it's not, and it's not judged the same way, and it's not graded the same way. And exactly what you were saying about the coin may be an uglier coin, but it may be a much rarer coin. Those are the ones you want, but they're graded differently. They should be treated differently, and you cannot grade ancient coins the same way. And that's why I agree with you from what your idea was before, in saying that they should, PCGS or some other company should step up, completely reinvent the way that they grade them, and then start taking the submissions and grading them, because they could have the entire industry if they wanted it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, honestly, I'm happy. Like, I mean, when a heritage started really pushing, really doing well with ancients, when after David Vagey took over NGC, and then Barry Murphy got in there, and the ancient slabs really started to take it off because they finally had credibility at NGC. That's the other problem too, is that PCGS or any other grading service would have to have an expert that people would rely on and trust.
Yes.
And so David automatically, when he came, because NGC was a joke before David, and unfortunately when David and Barry retire, which could be, who knows, I mean, they're not young chickens, and it's a grind, I mean, those guys, I mean, people who submit to NGC can see they're like, they're behind in getting stuff back to people, and so that's time and money for people, and so and they're overextended. They're hiring more people, they're trying to do the best they can, but they're the only game in town that are doing ancients, and so they can only do so much, and so, but if those guys leave, and the people that are,
I'm sorry, but the problem with that is that then they're calling the tune, and unfortunately it's just not the right tune.
Well, it's, I mean, it's, but I
It
guess
is
my whole point was
directions that they don't need to be focused is what I'm
right.
saying. I'm sorry.
But my whole point is that now, like companies like Heritage, if you look, I don't look at all their e-sales, but and I know they probably make more money on their e-sales than they do on their marquee sales. That's true of a lot of big companies. They do better in their e-sales monetarily than they do because they run more of them, so it ends up being more money. But in their marquee sales, it's all like 12 Caesars, gold and silver, octadrachms of gold, Syracuse decadrachms. It's all popular types. You don't see hardly any bronze coins. Occasionally, if it's something really rare. And so I love the way NGC grades for that, because that didn't allow Heritage to expand further than just on trophy coins, honestly. And so and I don't blame them either. I mean, they're making a lot of money on mid-range type coins that of high grade designation. And so of course they're making a ton of money for their consigners in that regard, and that's wonderful. But it kept them out of the bronze game for the most part, and a lot of other areas. So that's where the raw market is still so much stronger, because that's a massive amount of the market that they're leaving behind. And so and I had to talk with NGC about it years ago, about the fact that they put smoothing on every single one, and I said, why don't you just downgrade the surface and be done with it? And he said, well, I was talking to David, and he said, well, it's up to the dealers to teach the collectors that smoothing doesn't matter on bronze coins. And I said, well, unfortunately, you have created a market of hypersensitivity on the grade, that any of those negative comments on the slab, people don't want them. It's just, if you're at the height of the slabbing collecting, and you don't care what you pay, and all your coins are star 5555 of some grade, mint state probably, you're not going to want to have a choice EF
Smooth.
with smooth or I forget the other thing. Yeah, not tooled, but I forget the other thing they put when they have slight scratches on it. I forget the designation. I'm drawing a blank right now, which everybody hates as well, when it's been over cleaned. So in any case, let's move on.
Yes, I don't think anybody wants, if you're setting the standard as being, 5
brushed
star brushed. There you
right.
go. 5
Brushed.
star. It's like a coin that says, 4 or 5 brushed is going to look out of place. It's just not.
Well, I mean, I had a client that was bidding on a decadrachms, and he was selling it. He's a dealer in China, and he was selling to somebody in mainland China, and it came back choice XF star brushed. And even though it had a star, his client didn't want it because it said brushed. And it was a Pedigreed decadrachms back to the 1920s. It was a fantastic coin. And and that's pretty bad. I've never seen a client who basically denounced a wonderful coin because it said brushed on it. I mean, and it was very marginal, if it was even at all. So in any case, let's move on. Lot 72, the wonderful gold Pantopium.
Let's get past that.
Yeah, exactly. So this brought 300,000 hammer. I was actually underbidder on this coin, and what they didn't show, I ended up seeing some videos of this coin. They didn't have them online, but I asked the auction house for them. And underneath the griffin on the reverse, there was actually scratches, which are hard to make out. Yep. They were very hard to make out on the photo, but in the video, they're pretty prevalent. And so my client, who was going to go over 300,000, decided to stop at 300. And so the other bidder got 300 first, and I could have cut it, but I decided we decided just to let it go. And so that may have gone for more if it didn't have the scratches, but it's still a fantastic coin. It's all about the obverse of this coin. Fantastic style. These don't ever come up like the later ones, or the ones that are constantly coming up. So that's, I think that was a fair price for it, and that's where it, should have been. Moving on to the lot 85, that's the Athens Dram, which is ex-Potsy from the 1920s, brought 4,000 Swiss francs hammer. I think that's a very fair price for that. I don't think it's crazy. I think that's in line for a wonderful pedigreed piece like this.
So this is a
Potsy
really
plate
tiny
coin.
right?
It's smaller than tetradrachm. So this is a dram. So it's less weight, obviously. So size about the size of the Alexander drams. Maybe a little bit more chunkier, but other than that, that's what these look like. Good price for that. I think in general the price is really, really crazy, or in line, and so
So
but,
4,000 for
that's-
this one. I'm just asking about the size of it because it looks almost identical to a tetragram. So the size is important, and this amount of detail on a much smaller coin makes it a more exceptional coin.
I mean, it's not tiny. It's not an obol,
Well,
but it's a
the size of
dram,
dime, right?
But yeah, but then you've got the but it's much chunkier, obviously.
Yeah.
But like the Alexander tetradrachms, look, the Alexander decadram, tetradrachm, and drams are all the same design as well. The only one that's different is the Athens decadram. The facing eagle on the reverse is got its both wings out facing. So it's a little bit different on the decadram, but the tetradrams, the drams, and the obols and the diobals are all the same design. So anyway, moving on to the last and wonderful coin, the anonymous gold stater from the very, very first coin in gold issued by the Roman Republicans. This ended the cast bronze material and started them in the doing gold and silver. And so this one brought 400,000. I actually did win this for a client. So I will hopefully be getting this coin soon, and I'll maybe do some social media on it. Maybe a little knock scenario, which I haven't been doing as much of lately. But I'll get back to it, guys. So that was the NG sale, great sale, and well warranted. Congratulations to all the winners. So that's going to move us on to the next review of an upcoming auction. It's actually coming up this week, so depending on when you watch the show, it might be over already. It's the Rauch Sale. It's going to be December 11th and 12th. So, Mike, if you want to bring that up.
There it is.
There it is.
Production.
Okay. And so I profiled just a couple pieces in here. So the first one's going to be lot 406. Yep. So this is from Thrace. It's a Coson. So these were made for the Civil Wars. The thought is that Brutus actually probably used these to pay the Thracian mercenaries to fight in the Civil Wars against Mark Antony. I believe that's the scenario. There's two types of this one. There's one with the 3 council on the obverse, and then there's this one. And the reason I bring it up because later we're going to talk about the coins, the Macedonia under Roman rule coins, which is very similar to this coin, but this is a smaller denomination. This is a dram, so it's 3.98, mid 1st century BC. They're not so rare, but they do come up occasionally, and they have a pair of these coming up in the sale.
Very busy coin.
So you've got it's Artemis on the obverse with her quiver behind her. It's a little bit stylistically not as good as the Macedonian or Roman rule, which we'll see later, but it has the club of Hercules with the wreath showing the success, and then the name of the magistrate and city as well. So, and then if we go to the next lot 452, this is, I love these coins. These are the Brockage coins. So this is a mint error, and there's quite a few. I think I saw 4, maybe 5 of these in the sale throughout. It happens a lot in the Roman Republican period, but it also happens imperially as well. There's always mint errors. Again, they didn't really necessarily care. I mean, they did care about, getting the obverse and reverse in there, but if one came through, it didn't matter because it was still the proper weight. And remember, weight was more important than anything else with these things. So this is where the bottom planchet obviously didn't get in there, and so it was struck through and showing the obverse twice on the coin. So this is it for the, and these actually do bring money. They're not as strong as, there are some errors that bring more money than others, because there are certain coinage that hardly you ever see an error on. But it just depends. But they generally bring a little less than the official types, but they're still sought after, I think. And people really do enjoy them. So, and I, again, look for these. I think if you get into collecting brockages, I think it's really cool. That's actually an area where it's not real expensive, and you can always find them. They're not so prevalent, but you do see them come up pretty often. So for those guys, for you guys looking for an area to collect, it's cool because it's not just in Republican coins, it's in imperial coins. It happens, in all types of things. Even you see it in Greek coins occasionally as well. So and then moving on to the last coin of review, lot 520. This is Regalianus. This is one of the usurpers I was talking about. Now imagine this coin at NGC in an NGC holder. What are they gonna call it?
3.
So, I mean, they generally come this way. They're poor quality. He reigned for just a few months. Didn't even reign because he was never, given.
Yeah, he was a usurper.
He was a usurper, so he was never made emperor by the Senate. And so this was in 260 AD. What's great about him, I believe it was Gordian, I think, or somebody, I can't remember who it was, that he was basically holding back kind of forces, fighting some of the tribes in the area where he was at in Mosia. So it's and then until he was finally killed in one of the battles. But there's not a lot known about him otherwise. That's pretty true of a lot of usurpers. You don't always know a lot about them. They're just basically their troops call them emperor. And so that's why, when the empire was really expanded, a lot of emperors didn't like to have their generals too far out, because if they got a big army, they could basically say, well, we're emperor now.
I'm the emperor.
Right, exactly. So this is one of those coins, like if you're like one of those, and I have collectors like that who are collecting every Roman coin ever produced. They want every emperor, and they want all the usurpers. And so there's some usurpers that are really, really expensive, and then there's some that are just okay. So
this would be okay.
This is yeah. Because I mean, I've seen a little bit better quality of the die on the obverse, but they generally all come this way. They're poor quality, not very nice. Sometimes you can barely see stuff on it, and so it's but if you want all the names, you have to buy it. And so if you're collecting just slabs, I don't know if you're going to want this coin, because it's not going to have the designation that you're going to be happy with. So, but if it was a rarity 1 for rarity 5, whatever it is for the rarity scale, that might make a big difference over the grade of the coin. So, and this is the way they come, guys. Sorry, that's the way they come.
You said he was around the era of Gordian.
I believe so. Actually,
what I notice is his crown looks kind of like
radiant crown. Yeah,
the radiating crown. It seems to be very much like the Gordian coins I've seen. Or am I?
Let me see here. Oh no, I was wrong. It was It's Gallianus. It's Gallianus. My bad.
Okay.
I had G in my head, but it was under Gallianus. So which also had the radiant crown as well. So Gallianus was dealing with some uprisings of his own in Italy, where Regalianus was dealing with barbarians elsewhere, which kind of helped Gallianus be able to deal with what he needed to deal with without having to deal with these other tribe. So in any case,
but basically the same radiating crown is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So so let's move on. We're going to go to our buyer bid sale. We're in our 234th buy or bid sale. And so we launched the sale about 2 weeks ago. And the way our sale works, if you don't know, it's called a buy or bid. So we only list at our buy price. And if you pay the price, you get it immediately. If you place a bid lower than their buying price, you have to wait about 2 months until the end of the sale. If it hasn't sold at the buy price, you get it at your bid price as long as we agree that it's okay. So if you bid $1 and
as long as it means
bid and nobody bought it, we don't set any reserves. Yeah, we don't set any reserves in the beginning. It allows people to bid whatever they want. And then what we do is about 2 weeks before the end of the sale, we go through and act like, if we're going to close the sale today, would we accept this? If we accept it, then we show the next, what we call the next acceptable bid, which is going to be 10% above the current highest bid, or it's the reserve. So if we don't accept a bid, we tell people behind the scenes, yes or no, if they've been accepted, and the new next acceptable is posted. And if you place that bid and nobody places one higher and it never gets to the buy price, it's yours. There's no buyer's fees. So to date, I believe we've already sold 190 lots or something like that out of the sale. So quite a bit, maybe a little less, but
over 600 lots. So
yeah. So in the first 24 to 48 hours, we'll sell close to 100 lots right away. So it's really a first come, first serve basis. And that's where a lot of the auction houses can't really compete with us in that aspect, because it's not the billionaire that gets there first and outbids everybody. It's the first come, first serve. So if you're a small guy and you end up buying the coin before the advanced collector, you just got there first. So, and so people seem to like that. And then there's no buyer's fees, which people like that too. Now, I don't get the runaway bid price that an auction might, but doesn't happen that often. Honestly, things usually go for under or at a good price, and occasionally you get some really strong ones. But overall, I control the price all the way through. So a lot of my consigners like that as well, because they don't have to worry about losing money. They can decide, this is my lowest net price I want to take, and I figure my commission, which is going to be higher because I don't charge a buyer's fee. And then I usually charge about 15% on ancient coins and 20% on antiquities. But I protect the price all the way through. So if a client says to me, I can't take less than $1,000 for this, even with your commission, then I make sure that I'm above that no matter what. And hopefully it sells and it doesn't really matter. And then I set the buy prices strong based on what the market's doing. So we look at, see where the market is and where the sweet spots are, because we do want things to sell. If I can have everything just sell at buy price, obviously that's going to be an advantage for us and for our consigners. So that's the goal. But it gives us different price points. It lets our clients have their different price points. And yes, if you place a bid, you're taking a risk and losing it. That's the way it goes. But, honestly, after the first couple of weeks, if something hasn't sold, chances are it may be around still. So, but in any case, let's go through a few. Lot 91, even.
You're saying not a ton of sniping going on in these auctions?
That's only at the end if somebody buys it, because you can buy it right up to the last second. So as soon as you buy it, it's over. And I see people competing on coins doing the 10%, 10%, 10%, and it's getting close and somebody just buys it and it's over. So anyway, but it can never go above the buy price. So I brought this one up, even though it's already sold for its buy price. This is the Crucifixion year Shekel. I could have priced this a lot higher. I think the last one C&G sold brought about 18,000. The Crucifixion year, which is 33, 34, extremely sought after. They don't come up so often, and I priced it for under 10,000. So I actually priced it very reasonably, and it obviously sold right away because they've been selling a lot higher in auction. But the gentleman who bought this was a consignment piece, and I believe he bought it in the 90s for about $1,000. So he made a lot of money, but he also hung on to it for 25, 30 years. So, Yeah, it's a great coin because of the history of it, and it was under $10,000, and so the person who bought it's very happy, the consignor's very happy, everybody's very happy. So, and I didn't gouge the person on the coin when I sold it, and so yeah, I could have asked 15,000, but I didn't. So, so in any case, so that's the situation where something did sell at the outright price. In the sale, we have I have a consignment of wonderful Roman bronzes, some fantastic ones. And so I'm going to highlight a bunch of them from that sale, from this sale. So a lot of them are pedigreed before 1970, not all of them, but quite a few are, but they're just really fantastic for the grade and the style. So the first one's going to be lot 365. And this is the wonderful Nero Sestercius. And you can see how nice the surfaces are. Beautiful green patination, which is really what you're looking for on these types of coins. This one's not so rare, but it also it's not, you know, tooled. All bronzes have a little bit of smoothing, but it's not really that bad. But this is Ars Classica 1934. It's from the Sir Arthur Evans collection. Very important collector at the time. So though you could find these types of bronzes in the market with that reverse, you're not going to necessarily find one that's an Ars Classica 1934. So that's a really fantastic pedigree from a very important collector from history with a beautiful green patination. So next coin we're going to profile is the lot 368. It's a Diva Julia Titi Sestercius. I love this coin. I think stylistically it's fantastic. Again, they come up, but the surfaces are pretty nice on it. It's got it, you know, there is smoothing in the fields, which is common, but not terrible. Actually, you know, a little bit more smoothing on the reverse. And you can see this. So see what smoothing is. It's not tooled. It's just that they were cleaning it. And so you can see the difference in the color in the center as opposed to where the legend is.
It looks like bronze.
And so they actually, when they were cleaning it mechanically, which is the way you generally have to clean these things, and that's why they end up with so much smoothing. So, but when you're tooling, you're adding detail, and this one's not tooled; it's just smooth. So it's, you know, for instance, if they created eyes in the horses yes, that weren't there anymore, that would be tooling. You know, so they're creating something that doesn't exist. When you're just lowering the surface because you're cleaning the coin because of the incrustation on it, that's right, you know, kind of happens in bronze coins, and that's why NGC has a hard time grading these. And this came from a very, very famous collection. It's the Mazzini collection, sold in Milan in 1957. If you have the Mazzini books, they're extremely important books on Roman coins. So again, you know, even the most important collections of the time had smooth bronze coins. It's just the way it was. So it's not really a big deal, guys. And so, I mean, obviously, if you can buy coins that aren't smooth, it's better, but it's very difficult to do that.
Yeah, but
if it was good enough,
I'm sorry, what strikes me about that coin is just the color. It looks like a bronze coin. It looks like a modern bronze coin.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful coin. So let's move on to lot 370. This is the Trajan Sestercius with the victory on the reverse. Another wonderful coin, pretty natural surfaces on this one. And again, this one sold ex Christie's 1949. It was in the Earl Fitzwilliam-Wentworth collections, which was also a very important collection at the time. And fantastic coin, really nice surfaces, that beautiful green patination, and wonderful pedigree as well. So another great coin. And then moving on, love this coin. This is the Marcus Aurelius, lot number 385. I don't think this one had a pedigree, but the surfaces on this are just like metallic. They're really beautiful. The reverse is really well done. Just very, very pretty bronze, showing Marcus Aurelius as Caesar. and just beautiful olive green patina. But that reverse is really tremendous. It's much better in hand, but the video shows it pretty good. Actually, that's why I love doing the videos, because they really do show the coin better than a lot of the photos. Just comes to life more. It has that more of the way the light hits the bronze just comes off much nicer. But really, really beautiful coin. And then moving on, 389. So another fantastic coin, really beautiful, of Faustina II. And again, another fantastic pedigree. This is X Sotheby's 1975 from the Woolridge collection again, and X Ars Classica 8, 1924 from the Clarence Bement collection. So fantastic pedigree, really wonderful coin, beautiful reverse type, showing the two baby boys, her two baby boys on the reverse. Really fantastic, and a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pedigree. So, and then last and not least, we have a provincial coin. And I love these Antonius Pius Zodiac coins. This is lot 571. This is probably the finest known for the type. I couldn't find too many that were better. And it shows Moon in Cancer on the reverse of this coin. So this is the denomination is a large bronze coin called a dram that were just minted in Egypt, Alexandria, during the Roman Egyptian period. But wonderful coin, really fantastic, and the finest known for the type. So there's a lot of other great coins in the sale, plus antiquities. Check it out. I'm in the process of finishing up laying out the catalog. So amongst my other responsibilities at HJB, I also do all the graphic layout for the catalog. And so I'm just finishing that up, and it will go to the printer hopefully by Wednesday at the latest. And hopefully I'm going to get it mailed before Christmas, but we'll see how that goes. But the catalog's online already, has been, and is always available. And so, I'm a little behind on getting catalogs done. So,
and there is always
when you got to lay out like 1,000. When you got to lay out over 1,000 images, it takes a while. So, in any case,
our timing is just wrong today. It's just not. It's okay. It's fine. As well,
right.
there is plenty of inventory that is constantly available online at hjbltd.com. There you go. There's your.
So that's our about our 4 plugs a year on this show.
You know what? It's an event. It's something that we've got really good coins, and we're proud of them too. So,
yeah, well, I've got some good consignor. I got some good consignments in the sale. In fact, a lot of this sale is consignments. I own some of the stuff, but not a lot of it. Normally, HJB owns a lot of it, but in this case, it's a lot of consignments. So, so I owe it to the consignors also to show off their coins. You know, it's only fair.
Absolutely.
And they're great coins. So, moving on to our Doofus purchase, I did find one that I thought was a little insane. And I always seem to be, I'm not necessarily picking on Heritage because they started this out at $1.
Oh,
so it's not their fault.
Well, it's not
but
their
it's
fault.
not even
paid.
No, somebody overpaid. So, I mean, this is an Alexander Dram. It's not even a lifetime. It's a posthumous, at least based on, I didn't look it up, but based on the write-up to see what it was. It's a really nice coin, but this is a small dram. It's not even a tetradrachm. And most tetradrachms, unless it's Memphis Mint or something really rare, they don't even bring 2,800. So to have a dram bring 2,800, this is a $800 coin at best, nothing more. I mean, if maybe you could get to $1,000, but I would be hard pressed to get to 1,000. So I think somebody paid 3 times at least what this coin is worth. Not necessary, guys. You could find this kind of nice inventory in most dealer stock. You can find really nice drams and tetradrachms around. There's no reason to pay this kind of money. Not even a star coin So I don't even know why somebody was paying that much for the coin.
Okay, is it just me, or do the surfaces on this coin look like really, really nice?
They are really nice.
Okay.
And that's why I said, if it was my coin, I would ask $800 for it in that grade. I would never even try to get $1,000 for it. But you gotta understand, most drams sell for around 500 or less.
Sure. So for as drams go, 800 is a pretty strong price. 26.
Yeah, and if it was really like
a little overboard.
Yeah, and if I said if it was the best I've ever seen, maybe I would go up to 1,000, but I wouldn't go anything above that. You know, I mean, it's just not. They don't bring that.
They completely underestimated or overestimated the market.
Well, I think there was a bidding war here, and so you know, and Heritage, they don't do anything wrong. You know, they're starting it at $1. You know, I mean, these are people that are fighting for it. So I've long said, if you've got a high designated coin in a holder that is a popular type, like an Alexander the Great, some of the popular Greek types in silver and gold, and you have a high designated coin, if it's common but high grade, give it to Heritage, because you'll probably do really well. So that's my plug for Heritage, you know. But if you have a bronze coin or something that's rare, really rare, that most of the slabbing market wouldn't appreciate, I would not give it to Heritage, because they won't do well with it. So not as well as some of the other auction houses might. So that focus more on raw and have a little bit more, sorry to say, sophisticated collector is the only way I can put it. Doesn't, you know, I think that a lot of the Heritage collectors, not all of them, look, it's across the board, but I think there's a lot of newbie collectors that are buying out of the Heritage sales, and they don't understand pricing, and so they just see a high designated, and they're thinking, I'm buying a coin of Alexander the Great, you know. And so a lot of collectors started Heritage because they're such a mammoth that they end up picking up new collectors that have never seen an ancient coin before, and they see Alexander the Great and they go bonkers. And so for them, they're like, this is hot. I mean, it's only 2,800. It's nothing, you know, but I guarantee you later they're going to regret that.
Yeah. If they hang around the hobby long enough to learn, they're going to learn that they could have been much smarter at the beginning.
But that's and if they, and I guarantee you, if Heritage relisted this coin later and started at $1, they would probably say that it brought 2,800 in this sale, just to entice people to say, like, hey, it already brought 2,800.
Yeah, can we do
it again? So you may want to think about, we do it again, you know, because it might only bring $1,000 next time, you know.
Now,
so,
see, that's on them, though. This time, not on them. That would be on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the auction houses do that. You can open up a CNG sale. They do it too. You know, like if something brings a really crazy price at one point, you want to list it, because then you're like, yeah, it was crazy, but, you know, look, and we do it at Harlan Berk sometimes. If I bought a coin, get it in a collection or something, and it brought some ridiculous price years ago, and I know it's not going to bring that again, I list it so that at least people feel like if they got it for half that, they're like, oh, I got a great deal. You know, so it's kind of psychological a little bit. I don't expect people to pay the same price, and I'm not listing at the same price. And even when CNG does the same thing, if they list, look, they're going to do it at an estimate, right? Which estimates are going to relatively be wholesale numbers anyway, to entice people to bid. But they may say like, oh, this coin brought 30,000 in 2014, you know, and we're estimating at $5,000. And so if it ends up bringing 20, people are like, oh, well, it brought 40 back then, and now it only brought 20, you know. So it's part of the history of the coin. So to me, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just the way
it seems to me that if it was in a buy bid sale, it would have a buy price closer to like, you know, $8,000, $9,000, and that's it. It would have never.
Well, you know, yeah, I mean, if I had a coin that brought, let's say, 40,000, but they're now, I look at the market and they're in the last 3 to 5 years, depending on how rare the coin is, because maybe it only comes up every 10 years. You know, I might look at the market and see what the last one brought, last 2 or 3, see what the grade is, compare the artistic merit between the coins, and then make a decision on where that sweet spot is to price it based
Sure.
on what's already
But
happened in
you're
the
not gonna
market.
let
Because
somebody hurt themselves on it really bad.
no,
You're going to try.
well, that's
and
where the buyer bid.
Right.
Yeah, that's where the buyer bid. Look,
That's
on
what I was-
really rare, on really unique coins, it's very tough because you got to sometimes price coins that have never come up for auction. So that happens occasionally, and so sometimes you just take a stab.
And
it
if you
doesn't always
sell
work
it way
out.
too fast, you missed.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, my dad likes to say that if he has multiple people wants to buy something, he says, "Well, I guess I priced it too cheap."
Yeah.
So, but whatever. It's the way it is. So,
Point.
anyway, so that's our doofus. Don't overpay for Alexander the Great drams. It's not necessary. Can find them anywhere.
Nobody got time for that.
Even in this quality, eventually you'll find them. So I do have one correction to make from the last podcast. We were talking about the porous decadrams, and a collector who owned one brought his to my attention. And so I'm just going to show the first page of his. He did a really great slideshow presentation on the coins of porous. And so at some point maybe I'll get his permission to run it during the show, but I at least wanted to show that I had missed I said there was only like 4 or 5 of them that were in the market. There are a bunch that are in museums. And so Mike, if you want to bring up his first page. Yep. We'll just bring up that one.
You're going to have to bring it up. Yeah, you have to add it.
I did. And I'll bring it big. So Richard Bielsen, he bought this in 2025. So not that long ago. Or no, this was just his presentation. He did this.
Yes.
I think he does this for the San Francisco coin show. So this was but this is his coin. And really fantastic coin. And I had missed this one in the in my numbers of how many of these existed. So correction. So anyway, so thanks to Richard for bringing that to my attention. And maybe I'll, in a future show, we'll do a whole thing on this coinage and bring it to everybody's attention. So but let's move on because we're getting behind here a little bit, and let's get into our, because we were talking about slabbing and stuff like that. But
sure.
Anyway, let's talk about. Yeah, I want to get into the coins, the Macedonian under Roman rule. This is going to kind of be a short little thing. I mentioned that I might do a little educational on this, and so here we are.
You want to pull it up?
Yeah, go ahead. You gotta
add it. You got to add it, or do I?
I don't see it.
Okay,
No, I don't see it below here.
I gotcha.
If you want to add it to the presentation.
See. Stop it. All right.
Sorry.
There
we go. Oh.
Is that it?
No.
No.
It's half dollars. I think that's for your show. Look, new arrivals.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's try this again. Yes. Google Slides.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
You're actually on it.
Okay. Let's go all the way down here. Oh, that's weird. It doesn't show. Here it is. Got it. Share. All right. Now you.
Can you go to the first page? There you go. Go to the first page.
Oh.
There you go. Okay.
Right.
Thanks for that little
interlude.
We do this live, guys. So that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Macedonia under Roman rule. I thought this was an interesting period, so I wanted to kind of like just do a quick little summary of it. And so We see a lot of these in the market. It's actually interesting. A lot of the later tetradrachms actually I see have gone up in price because I see a lot of them end up in high designated holders. So this is where the raw and the slab market kind of touch a little bit. And so it used to be a $500 coin, $500 coin, $500 coin in decent grade, and now they're going for 1,000 and up depending on how nice it is. So if you want to go to the next slide, Mike. So a little history here. So this was during the Third Macedonian War from 171 to 168. Here's a little map here. The red is where the Romans were moving, and the general Clinius, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and then you have the Macedonian. You have the Macedonian position. And so this was a war fought between the Roman Republic and King Perseus of Macedon. King Philip the Fifth of Macedon died, and then Perseus, his son, took over, and he kind of dissed the Romans because he didn't like them. And so then the Romans went back and declared war. The war was fought in Macedon as well as neighboring Thessaly, where the troops were stationed. And then the general in 171 BC, in several years of campaigning, Rome decisively defeated the Macedonian forces at the Battle of Fideina in 168 BC, ending the war. And so after they ended the war, Rome broke up or divided the republic into 4 areas called merides, and they were different provinces, and they were Amphipolis, Thessalonica, Pella, and Pelosia. And if, Mike, you want to go to the next slide, you can see a little breakdown of those 4 areas. Most of the coins were being minted in Amphipolis, and so in the first Maris, which means first Maris is the only one that strikes the coins, was in Amphipolis, and the coin said on the reverse on either side of the Club of Hercules, the coin of the first district of the Macedonians. And on the obverse of the coin, you have Artemis. All the coins before this were Alexander as Hercules. And that was, going back to when, they were still honoring Alexander, who actually took over all these lands. And so the Romans wanted to get away from using Alexander, and so they put Artemis on here. She was actually worshipped in the area, so it wasn't a big stretch to use her. That's on the boss of a shield, which is the obverse of the coin. On the reverse, you have the diadem, and you have the Club of Hercules. So they still kind of stayed a little bit. The club was still a way of staying a little bit within the whole Hercules and Alexander thing to kind of, because these were meant to be circulated within the this area. And so they didn't want the Roman coins at all. And so they still wanted to issue Greek coins. And so this is what they came up with. If you go to the next slide, you can see here that they use the club, and here's some of the reasons. So Hercules, deeply familiar with Alexander's coinage, politically safe under Roman rule, and the perfect symbol to maintain Macedonian identity while the Rome was controlled in the provinces. And they changed to Artemis for the same reason. They wanted to get away from Hercules and Alexander. And then later engravers, many trained under the Roman administration, found the Artemis profile easier to standardize than the highly Hellenistic Hercules head, or the Alexander as Hercules is what we like to say. So, and then you have magistrates that were running these areas that were actually putting their names on the coins on the reverse as well. So if you go to the next slide, and these are all after 168, after they had taken over the area. This is a coin we profiled, this type, where you really decorative, where you have the hand on the reverse holding a diadem or a wreath, and then you have the club, and you have Legion Macedon, which translates legatus of the Macedonians, commanding officer of Macedonia. So these actually bring a lot more money because of the die type, and because of the hand type on here. So and then the different symbols are for the different magistrates at the time. If you go to the next slide. Later on, they actually went back to Alexander. So this is actually Alexander with the horn of Zeus Ammon on the obverse on the coin. It's because they got into the wars of against Mithridates. And so Celius, who was a financial officer in the province of Macedon between 90 and 75 BC, actually started issuing these coins with Alexander on the obverse, along with the money box and some other attributes of Roman society, with his name on the reverse. Macedon on the obverse with Alexander as Hercules, and then his name on the reverse to declare power. And it was propaganda that they needed, and they wanted to kind of relive, bring back the ghost of Alexander to help fight against Mithridates. So they were trying to get people in the area excited about fighting again. So a lot of these coins were issued, and the other old design went away. So it's pretty interesting in that regard. And then go to the last slide, I believe it is. Yeah. So I only found one diagram in silver, totally different, little bit different style on the obverse without Artemis. That's the only one I ever found. There's a few bronze coins that they issued. Those are the three that I could find. There's probably some other rarities that I'm missing, but these were all minted around the same time period as the tetradrachms. Probably more for local spending and less about treasury or paying mercenaries like the tetradrachms were. And then go to the final slide. These are some of the reference books that you can use to look up these things. One of the most popular ones is the Handbook of Coins of Macedon and Its Neighbors, done by Hoover. But these are some of the other. These are some of the other books that you can find. You've got SNG-ANS, SNG Copenhagen, BMC, and some others for these different style types. And so, but they're not hard to look up. They're very popular and they come up constantly, but the prices have gone up quite a bit. So anyway, that's my little take on Macedonia under Roman rule. So click a little, I'll bring us back, Mike. And there we are, back. We back. Oh yeah, we decided that was too close.
Yeah, that's way too close.
So we both agreed that we have good voices for podcasting, not necessarily visually speaking. So anyway, so that brings us to our pearl of wisdom. Mike, you want to give us your pearl?
Well, our pearl of wisdom this week is leading into the holiday season. Hanukkah starts next week. Christmas is the week after that. I think Ramadan was like a month and a half ago. But I just want you guys to all take care of somebody else this holiday season. It's a season where we're all giving and we're all sharing. Try to make an impact on the life of at least one person this year, so we can lift the spirits and bring hope to somebody who might be struggling with their own. I think that would be the wisdom that we want to take into this holiday season.
I think that's very fitting.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Think of somebody else, if just for a day. Think of somebody else. Try make an impact on one person's life. If you can do that, I think we're all going to be better off.
I agree. So thanks for that. I think that we'll probably try to get at least one more show in before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we'd probably do a year in review somewhere in between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Probably do it right after, like Mike said, between Christmas and New Year's, and we'll probably maybe even do a nice little contest giveaway at the end of the year as well, which would be kind of cool. And then I will end up seeing a bunch of you guys. I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to walk the show there, and then I'm going to be in New York. So hopefully we'll be on a little tour, seeing some of you guys around the country. So as always, thanks, Mike, and I'll let you take it home.
And thanks for everybody who helps make the show possible, all the people that help behind the scenes. But thank you to you who listen, without whom, this whole thing is pointless. We will talk to you next time on the episode, 73 of the Ancient Coin Podcast. So long, everybody.
With me.
With Aaron Burke.
So long. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Burke. We'll return with another episode soon. Meantime, you can join our private group on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and search the Groups tab for Ancient Coin Podcast Discussion Group and ask to join. There you can become part of our community, where we share and discuss ancient coins, as well as the show, the ancient coin market, auctions, or just to give our own opinions on things in order to learn together. Join Aaron and Mike again soon for the next episode of the Ancient Coin Podcast with Aaron Burke.